There is a version of getting dressed in the morning that takes about 4 minutes. You pick something, you put it on, you leave. That version exists, just not for everyone. For some people, getting dressed is the first negotiation of the day. The first moment the body becomes a problem to be managed before anything else has even started. Before coffee, before the first email, before a single thing has been asked of you. And if that's familiar, if the negotiation started this morning, this video is going to name something you may have stopped noticing because it's been happening so long, it started feeling like weather. The cost of being at war with your body. Not the emotional cost in the abstract, the specific, daily, hourly cost. What it's actually taking from you. Here is what the first hour can look like when the war is running. You wake up. Before you're fully conscious, there is already an assessment happening. How does the body feel today? How does it look? Whether yesterday was good or bad, and what that means for today. The mirror, or the deliberate avoidance of it. The clothes that fit and the ones that don't, and the specific weight of knowing the difference. The calculation that happens before you even choose what to eat. Not hunger, not preference, but the day's first negotiation with the body. And this is just the first hour. The war does not pause after that. It runs in the background of the meeting where you're supposed to be listening. It surfaces when someone suggests a restaurant you haven't pre-approved. It appears in the middle of a conversation when someone mentions a photo. It shows up at the beach, at the party, in the dressing room, at the dinner table, in bed. Research on chronic stress and the nervous system is consistent on this point. When the body is in a low-grade threat state, attention fragments. The brain cannot be fully present somewhere else when part of it is managing a perceived danger. And for many people, their own body has become the perceived danger. So the question this video is actually asking is not, is it bad to hate your body? You know the answer to that. The question is, what are you spending every single day to maintain this? And what would you do with that back? The war with the body is not one dramatic event. It is 1,000 small ones. Before breakfast, during breakfast, after breakfast, and the cumulative weight of 1,000 small wars, every day for years. That is what this video is putting a number on. There is a category of cost that is harder to measure because it is made of absences. The photo that wasn't taken, not because the moment wasn't worth capturing, because you weren't willing to be in it. The trip that got deferred, not because there wasn't money or time or reason, because the idea of being in a swimsuit in public was a weight too heavy to carry on a vacation. The intimacy that was withheld, not because the connection wasn't wanted, because being seen, physically seen, felt like more exposure than could be survived. These are not small things. A deferred trip is a deferred life. A withheld moment of closeness is a relationship that didn't get to be fully what it could have been. A photo that wasn't taken is a memory that exists for everyone else and not for you. And the particular grief of this, the thing that is different about this kind of loss, is that it is invisible. Nobody knows what didn't happen. Nobody mourns the vacation that was never booked. Nobody notices the photos you aren't in. You carry that quietly, and the quiet carrying of it has its own weight. This is what the body war costs in the category of unlived life. Not suffering that happened, life that didn't. And this is not said to add guilt to what you're already carrying. It's said because naming a loss is the first step toward deciding you're done paying for it. Not fixing it. Not erasing it. Just deciding that the account closes here. Here's the part that most content about body image doesn't say. The war has a logic. It keeps running because somewhere, underneath everything, there is a belief that it's supposed to be running. That the contempt is functional. That the monitoring is what keeps things from getting worse. That if you stopped watching, stopped criticizing, stopped managing, something would fall apart. That belief deserves to be taken seriously. It is not irrational, it learned from something. Maybe from a culture that treated the body as a project with a due date. Maybe from a family where the body was commented on, managed, discussed as a problem to be solved. Maybe from years of being told that discipline looks like dissatisfaction, that if you're satisfied, you've stopped trying, and stopping trying means failure. So the contempt became the effort. The war became the proof that you cared. And caring felt safer than stopping. Here's what the research on this actually shows. Chronic shame and self-criticism do not motivate change. They dysregulate the nervous system. A nervous system under constant threat, even a self-generated threat, Even a quiet background hum of not enough moves toward survival behaviors, not toward growth. The war was never creating the structure you thought it was. It was creating noise. And some of that noise became the eating that happens not from hunger but from overwhelm. The body under attack, reaching for the one thing that has ever reliably turned the volume down. This is the thing worth sitting with. The contempt was not protecting you. It was not keeping you accountable. It was keeping you exhausted. And exhausted is not the same as disciplined. Exhausted is just exhausted. The war has been costing you the very thing you were trying to protect with it. Your presence, your energy, your ability to be somewhere fully. The pattern makes sense, given what it learned, given what it believed it was doing. But the war was never winnable, not because you were losing it. Because wars with your own body cannot be won. There is no victory condition. There is only the decision to stop spending. For anyone who just felt something shift in this, who recognized the cost for the first time and wants somewhere to take that recognition, there is a journal in the description built for exactly this moment, not a body positivity program, not a self-love curriculum. 30 days of prompts that move from where you are through something that might be described as a truce. Not love, just the end of active combat. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. There is an objection that arrives here for almost everyone. It sounds like this: but if I stop hating my body, I'll stop caring about it entirely. The contempt is what keeps me trying. Without it, I don't know what I am. That objection is worth honoring. Because it's not wrong that the war has felt like structure. It has. That's exactly the problem. But here is the distinction that changes this. Body neutrality is not body positivity. It is not love your body. It is not celebrate every part of yourself. Those asks are too far from most people who have been at war for years, and asking too much too fast is one of the ways the cycle continues. Body neutrality is a different ask entirely. It asks only this: what if your body were not your primary project today? Not celebrated. Not criticized, just present. A thing that carries you through the day rather than a thing you carry through the day. The experiences that didn't happen, the photos, the trips, the closeness, those were not lost because you failed to love your body. They were lost because the war was too loud to leave behind. Neutrality is quiet enough to travel with, and the objection, I'll stop caring, I'll lose all structure. Here is what actually happens when the monitoring quiets. Not chaos, not collapse, not eating without stopping. More bandwidth, more presence. The 4 minutes in the morning you spend on something else. The energy that was going to the war does not disappear when the war ends. It becomes available for the work you've been meaning to do, for the relationships you've been half present in, for the meals that are just meals, for the life that has been waiting on the other side of the negotiation. This does not happen overnight. The nervous system is slow to stand down. The habit of self-monitoring has years of reinforcement behind it. Hard is not the same as impossible, and you are not starting from zero. You are starting from understanding, which is a different place entirely. If this opens something, if you felt the cost of the war for the first time today, the resource in the description was built for this exact moment. No pressure, no timeline. It's there whenever you're ready. What is one thing you have missed, or almost missed, because the war was too loud to leave behind? What you carried into this video was a war so normalized it had stopped feeling like a war. It felt like the weather, like the permanent condition of having this particular body in this particular life. What this video asked you to do was look at the cost. Not to shame you for paying it, to give you the full picture. Because here's what is true. You did not choose to start this war. You were recruited into it by a culture that treats the body as an ongoing problem, by a language that describes eating as virtue and failure, by years of being measured and found wanting before you were old enough to question the measuring. The war was not your idea. It was handed to you, and you have been fighting it ever since with the tools you were given, which happen to be the tools that keep the war running. The tools were not your fault. The exhaustion is not your fault. The things that didn't happen, the photos, the trips, the presents, those are losses, real ones. And they are allowed to be grieved. Not performed, not resolved, tonight. Just named, because grief is not the same as defeat. Grief is what happens when you finally see the cost clearly and decide you're done paying it. You do not have to love your body tonight. You do not have to feel differently about it by morning. You are not being asked to transform. You are being asked only to consider that ceasefire is an option. Not surrender. Not giving up. Just the decision to stop spending everything on a war that was never going to end the way wars are supposed to end. Your body was not your enemy. It was your most available refuge, one meal at a time, one morning at a time, not one diet at a time.